I stood in the center of my father's empty mansion, the inheritance papers trembling in my hands, and right there, in the doorway, were my sister and her husband, smirking, holding their own forged while claiming everything belonged to them. And when I whispered, "Why are you doing this?" my sister simply said, "Because you were never meant to have anything." My name is Harper Lane, and I grew up in a home that looked perfect from the outside but felt cold on the inside. My father, a property developer, owned several estates, including the one I was now standing in. After he passed, I thought grief would be the hardest part. But I had no idea that the true storm was waiting inside my own family. I remember the mansion on quiet mornings, sunlight slipping through dusty blinds, the steady hum of the old AC, the creak of floorboards under my socks. It used to scare me as a child. But now, its silence felt heavier. Like it knew something I didn't. My sister Amelia and I had always been different. She was the golden child. Assertive, socially magnetic, always knowing how to charm people. I was the quiet one, the kid who preferred books, who rarely argued, who believed family was sacred. But after Dad's health started failing, Amelia grew strange. Every conversation felt rehearsed. Every look felt calculated. And I often caught her whispering with her husband, Daniel, stopping instantly whenever I walked in. I assumed they were stressed. I assumed grief was affecting all of us. I assumed wrong. The day after the funeral, I was sitting on the back porch, listening to the wind rustling through the old oak trees. That's when I overheard it, Amelia's voice, sharp, urgent. "We need to secure everything. Harper can't handle Dad's properties. She'll waste them." Daniel replied, "She won't fight you. She never fights back." My heart dipped. My breathing slowed. I pressed a hand over my mouth, as if that could quiet the pain bubbling inside me. Footsteps approached, slow, deliberate. I slipped away before they saw me. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept hearing the echo of Amelia's voice. Not out of anger, but because she sounded like she'd been planning this for a long time. 3 days later, Amelia requested a family meeting at the mansion. When I arrived, the lights were dim, curtains drawn, air thick with tension. I could hear their whispers before I even stepped inside. On the coffee table lay a stack of documents. Amelia didn't smile. She didn't hug me. She didn't even pretend. Instead, she folded her arms and said, "Dad changed his will. Everything goes to me." I blinked. "What?"
No.
"Dad gave us both the inheritance. He made that clear." Daniel slid the papers toward me. "Not anymore. He updated it before he passed. Look." My hands shook as I flipped through the pages. Something was off. Fonts mismatched. Signatures are too clean. Dates inconsistent. For the first time in my life, I saw my sister's eyes without their usual warmth. Only ambition. Cold, terrifying ambition. "This is fake," I whispered. Her jaw tightened. She leaned forward, voice lowered to a chilling calm. "I deserve it more than you. I stayed with Dad. I handled everything. You left for your career. That's not fair, Amelia. I visited every weekend." "You left," she repeated, cutting me off, her voice cracking into anger. "You took the easy life while I wiped his tears, handled his estate, dealt with the lawyers." Daniel placed a hand on her shoulder. She inhaled deeply, regaining control. "Sign the renunciation, Harper. Walk away quietly. Don't drag this out." The room felt like it was shrinking, walls pressing in. My pulse was hammered. My cheeks burned with betrayal. "No," I said softly but firmly. "I won't sign anything." The mask fell from Amelia's face completely. She spat out through clenched teeth. "Then you're forcing me to destroy you." The next week unfolded like a nightmare. I received letters from their attorney, each harsher than the last. Threats of legal action. Accusations of forging my copy of the will. Claims that I manipulated our father. Rumors started spreading, relatives calling me, confused, asking why I was challenging the clear wishes of my father. Amelia had gotten to them first. She controlled the narrative. One evening, I drove to the mansion to clear my head. The rain hammered against the windshield, lightning casting shadows across the estate. Inside, the house was dim except for the faint glow from the library. I found Amelia there. Rainwater dripped from my coat as I stepped in silently. She sat with her back to me, holding a photograph of our father. Her voice trembled, not with sadness, but with exhaustion. "Do you know what it was like?" she said quietly. "Watching him slip away piece by piece. Being the only one here?" "I was here too," I whispered. She scoffed. "You were here when it was convenient. I lived my life for him. You lived yours for yourself." Her bitterness filled the air like smoke. I stepped closer. "You could have told me how overwhelmed you were. I would have helped." "No," she said sharply, turning to face me with wild eyes. "You would have taken everything like you always do." "Amelia, I've never taken anything from you." "You took Dad's love," she screamed. The thunder outside cracked, echoing her rage. Daniel rushed in, gripping her shoulders, trying to steady her. "Enough," he warned. But she just stared at me like I was a ghost haunting her. "You don't deserve this house. You don't deserve the land. You don't deserve any of it." And in that moment I realized this wasn't about money. This was about years of resentment she had never voiced. The inheritance only lit the match. I had a choice. Fight her in court and tear our family apart even more, or walk away and lose everything my father intended for us. Both options felt like betrayal. One of her, one of myself. I sat on the staircase for hours after they left the room. The house creaked softly, as if breathing with me. I ran my fingertips over the wooden railing my father had built with his own hands. I remembered him laughing as he polished it, calling it his legacy. He never meant for it to divide us. After a long, shaky breath, I made my decision. I would not fight her the way she fought me. Not with lies. Not with forged papers. Not with violence. But I would protect what was legally mine. Quietly. Dignified. Truthfully. Because sometimes the most powerful form of justice is refusing to sink to someone else's level. The legal process took months. Painful months. Documents were reviewed. Signatures analyzed. Testimonies taken. And in the end, the truth surfaced. The court ruled that the forged will Amelia submitted was invalid. My father's original will stood. His estate was to be divided equally. But Amelia, she didn't speak to me again. Not a word. Not a glance. Even at the final hearing, she sat with her arms crossed, face blank, eyes hollow. Daniel avoided eye contact too. As the judge dismissed us, I looked toward her, hoping, despite everything, for a flicker of reconciliation. Nothing. Walking out of that courtroom felt heavy because winning didn't feel like victory. It felt like a loss. A deep, irreversible loss. I inherited my father's house, but I lost my sister inside it. Even now, as I stand on the balcony overlooking the land he loved, I wonder if things could have ended differently. But then I remind myself, loyalty is a choice. And betrayal is too. In the end, I finally learned that loyalty is louder than blood. Some endings are painful, but necessary. Tell me what you would have done.
And that's how everything unfolded. If you've made it this far, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Drop a comment below, we truly read every single one of them. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the Reddit Diaries to support the channel and help us reach our goal of 1,000 subscribers. Your support means the world to us.